After Newcastle's 2-0 loss to Man City, can they turn it around in a couple weeks' time at the Etihad? And before all of that, we've got a trip to Wolves coming up. Can Newcastle keep the Premier League form going? Let's find out right here on Toon Tactics TV.
Oh, brilliant from Shea. And now Murphy can take on the shot. Fabian Shea win!
All right, all right, all right. I hope you guys are all blessed and had a fantastic Thursday or Friday. I think it's going to be Friday for some of you at the moment. I don't know, but whatever. I hope you had a fantastic week so far, going on into Thursday. Uh, I've been having a blessed day myself, all as well, and I'm really, really looking forward to tonight's show. I'm going to be reacting to the loss to Man City in the first leg of the League Cup. Lots of conversations about that, especially online. Should you? Some fans want to just essentially feel being realistic and want to, or feel that they're being realistic and want to accept defeat and rotate the squad, play the kids, keep the teams fresh. Others like myself, really want to keep a winning mentality and still believe and act like they can turn it around. So we'll be talking about that and getting your thoughts in the game and what you think we should be doing going forward. Should we be going for the game or not, and give our reactions to the game. Then we'll be previewing the Wolves game this Sunday, actually, seeing if we can Newcastle get another, maybe the third away win this season. Let's see if we can do that. Talking all things Wolves as well under Rob Edwards and how they've improved as well. Regardless of them being bottom of the league, they have had a good run of form of recent. So we'll be talking about that and be having a bit of a transfer rumor discussion, doing scouting profiles on a couple players, or at least definitely one player, and getting you guys' thoughts on it. Seeing, is it a mover? Would you want the player? And how likely do you think that that transfer would happen? So really, really looking forward to getting you guys' views and opinions and all things as always. So. But just before we get into the reaction into the City game, good to see folks in the chat as always. God bless you, Wilbur Hey, Phil, how you doing, Wilbur? You had a fantastic game against Chelsea. Proper entertaining, proper cup game as well. I'll be really keen to get your thoughts on it. Wilbur says, whatever happens, don't end up like Chelsea. They are celebrating not losing by more than one goal difference. Hey man, you gotta take what you gotta get it how you live. You gotta get it how you live, man. Good to see Aaron. God bless you, Aaron. Always good to see you. Always good to see the guys in the chat as well. So, guys, let me know your thoughts on the City game. Let me bring up the stats and everything else, and from the game itself, individual performances. I'm really keen. Let me know if you guys saw the game. Who were your players that you really rated? Which ones do you think could have done a little bit better? I'll be really, really keen to get your thoughts. I mean, we talked. Let me see if you guys can see that. Yeah, you can. We talked in advance. Obviously, when we did the preview for the game, we talked a lot about our own teams, how we would approach the game, and City, how good a team they are, as well as the kind of the dangers of the game itself. We talked about Semenyo coming in, which he did, and he scored. We can predict that as well happening. I made a good couple of slides about the concerns around rotating the team and everything else, and I want to mention that to say, for me personally, I thought despite we played a lot better with a lot more energy than I thought we would, and I'm keen to get. Let's go through it. Let's start from the beginning. I'm keen to get people's reactions to it. I want to get you guys' thoughts in terms of looking ahead into the second leg, yes, we've got a bunch of games in between that. For you, are you taking the, some people call it, the realistic mindset of, okay, we haven't won at the Etihad for a very long time. It's been about five, like in the last 5 games at Etihad, it's been 14 goals to 0 for Man City when it comes against us. What's the point? Essentially, rotate the team, keep there's bigger fish to fry. I'm of the mindset of, I don't think it's that binary. I think you can be realistic and you can still have a winning mindset. You can still be driven at the same time. So the realism is, I take all those stats into account. We haven't won there. They're an incredible team. They have got an incredible manager with a frightening striker who I think if he played at Newcastle would also be absolutely devastating. But we ought to take that into consideration and still believe and act and play like a team who believe they can turn it around and get a result. Even if we end up still losing, there will be lessons learned. And I think what's important is that we act like an elite team now, not just when it suits us or when the odds are in our favor. I think elite teams become elite teams when the odds aren't always in their favor. Maybe their star striker isn't fit, or they're also fatigued, or they've got players missing, or the team they're playing is better than them. It isn't a time where you just say, well, they're just better than us. We haven't won away, or we haven't been in these competitions before. Let us just fold and not do anything. I think these are the type of games you can still learn lessons from, and will be the building blocks going forward. So I'm of the mindset that, yes, be realistic, use that as a roadmap, the stats, or everything that's whether they are in your favor or not in your favor, take that on board, and use that and use that still, and still have the winning mindset of believing that you and acting like that you can turn it around and you can still go through. That is my thoughts on it. So with all of that said, I'm keen to get you guys' views now. So look, there's a lot to I had the breakdown of the game, which is annoying because I can't find it now. But where is it? Did I find it? Because I did have the breakdown of the game somewhere, and I was gonna talk about it. So let me see if I can find it before I get onto it. But you can see that, look, essentially, 58% possession to Man City, 42% to us. Expected goals of 1.92. I don't think only Arsenal got something higher than us in our own gaff. But and with all of that said, the rest of the stats are really, really tight. I feel like that it was a game of fine margins, in my opinion. So, we had 10 shots, they had 11, we had 2 shots on target, they had 4 on target. We created 4 big chances. You can remember, in the opening 5 minutes when Wissa missed that shot, not an open goal, obviously, but had, essentially like a one-on-one, should have at least got it on target. Opportunity. He also hit the crossbar. Bruno hit the post. There's a couple of, I forgot, there was another chance, I think. I forgot what a third, there was a fourth chance what it was. Obviously, there's a couple of half chances, Voltemada missing kind of a diving header, then also not pulling the trigger when the ball came to him. Those kind of occasions and momentums. So those are, those kind of situations. What Man City were really, really good at was taking their opportunity. So they created, you can see here in the stats, they had 2 big chances. And then if you see the big chances missed, 0. They took both of their big chances. And you can see here where they were in terms of inside the box where they took those chances. We didn't take ours. This is the block shots from Botman. I think that was the corner kick. There was something else. Yeah, that's the Wissa chance in the 5 minutes. I forgot the Joe Linton chance, but it went wide. There was also one, obviously, that we hit the crossbar. So lots of opportunities there. Our accurate passes. So just from that, in terms of chances, I think City took their chances and we didn't, and that was the deciding factor in my opinion. Accurate passes were both really, really close. I think there was lots of fouls committed by both teams. And I think we shared the yellow cards. We both got 4 yellow cards each, really, which was super, super interesting. XG on target, that's the difference, 1.66 to City, 0.92 to us. And we've been talking about shot quality for absolutely ages now, and that's always fluctuating for us. And, Wissa, Voltamada, they got to do better. I think, is it Bruno that's like second in terms of leading goal scorers at the moment? So, and understandably, look, Wissa is obviously just come back from injury, so he hasn't got the games, but he has to begin to turn it up. Interestingly, again, going back to the shots, 10-11 to them, shots off target 4-2 to us, shots on target 4-2 to them, 5 block shots for them, 4 block shots for us. We hit the woodwork actually twice, obviously the crossbar and the post. One was from Whistle, one was from Bruno Gomes. We had 7 shots inside the box. They had 8. We had 3 shots outside the box. So today, again, super, super close stats as well. Both had crosses. We had 4 crosses. They had 3. Fairly accurate for both of us, 22%, 20% each. We had 25 touches in their box. They had 27 in ours. Again, really close stats. Defensively as well, tackles pretty evenly handed out. Interceptions pretty evenly handed out as well. Clearances pretty evenly handed out. Our keeper had to make 3 saves. Their keeper had to make 2 saves. Duels fairly even. Ground duels, we just edged it, but fairly even as well. They won more the aerial duels, possibly because we had the more crosses in their box as well. They won 11. We won 9. Successful dribbles 5 and 7. 7, obviously they won. They had the better of the dribbles, but it was a really, really close game. I'm just trying to find which is annoying because I'm trying to find my because I had a good summary of the game. But let me know what you guys thought. I thought it was a game. It was a game of like I said. I think if Wissa scores the opening goal in the first 5 minutes, it changes the face of the game. Goals change games, and I think I'm beginning to think misses do as well, because that miss, I think also, if looking back in hindsight, that miss changed the game for us as well. Yeah, here we go. I've got my the what if moments. I do have it. So the what if moments, obviously the whistle miss, hitting the woodwork, hitting the post, our defensive lapses for both of the Man City game. For both of the Man City goals. I think the first one was, Doku down the left hand side. I think Barnes showed him a little bit the way to go. Wasn't quite ready. We did get a lifeline from the VAR decision that kept it down to 2. I think it was the right decision according to the law, whether you like the law or not. But according to the law, I think it was the right decision. Haaland was offside and he was interfering with play. It doesn't matter whether Chow would have reached the ball or not, or what was on Chow's mind. You can only talk about what the actions were and what you can see. And what you can see is, in fact, let me share it with you. What you can see is what you can see is obviously Haaland being involved in the play and being offside as well, which meant that he was interfering in the play. Again, whether you disagree with the rules or not, that's what it was. That's what it ended up being. So, but let me know what you guys thoughts are. Were we really lucky to get it? Did we get away with it? Should we? Should have been 3-0 down? What was your thoughts on it as well? Were there any players that let you down? I'm going to go to the chats in a moment. There was something else I wanted to mention. So yeah, like I said, statistically we were competitive, but we lacked clinical finishing. Compared to City, we both had, like I said, we both had similar. We had 10, 11 shots. We had 3 on target, but there's with a 0.64 xG compared to City had 2.01. Depending on what kind of goals you're looking at. Players, I thought Bruno was probably our most outstanding player, even though towards the end he probably got a bit tired, and probably rightfully so, because he's played already, not only just the last 2 games he'd featured heavily, but also just in overall this season he's been featured very, very heavily as well. So he was pretty much the engine room. Miley had again a fairly good defensive performance as well, having to deal with Doku, then having to deal with Semenyo, which is really rough, really tiring to do as well. But mainly he handled himself okay. Pope, even though he let 2 goals in, I think he faced he made 3 saves, was it? I think he faced 6 shots. So 50% rate again. He did what what you can expect. Tonali came on, was okay, had a shot that went wide as well. Harvey Barnes came on for Murphy. I don't know what the latest on Murphy's injury is, but he did okay. Voltamada, he got into dangerous positions, and I think he had a decent touch for one of the kind of assisted shots. It was a difficult game for him to get into. Malik Chow and Botman were fairly solid. I thought they had decent games as well. Gordon, he had a decent first half. He had a cross that he set up early for one of Worcester's chances, faded a little bit in the second half. And obviously, Johan Wissa had the big miss in the first 5 minutes, hit the crossbar as well. I think that was second half as well. It was a difficult performance for him, to be honest. Jacob Murphy started off really, really well, starting off, setting up chances for people. And I think his injury, had he stayed on for another 10, 15 minutes, he probably would have created another good chance as well. So that was unfortunate. But I think overall, I thought it was a game of fine margins. We created the opportunities, but we didn't take them. Credit to City, they did. And now we have to go to the Etihad and attempt. I hope that we attempt to turn around the huge deficit. But let me know what you guys think of the game. Really keen to get your views. Aaron says, I think it was a game too soon. City worthy winners and took their chances. The tie is now time to focus on you say that the tie is now done. Time to focus on the Champions League and get in top 5. That's Aaron's view there. Wobajok says, I think it's the Arteta effect, but I have a thing for fullbacks and DMs. So Hall and Miley, especially Hall. Yeah, by the way, I don't know how I didn't mention Hall. He was majestic, incredible, absolutely incredible. I'm not sure if he's always been this good or I haven't been paying attention to him, to be honest. There was a flashes of him obviously coming from Chelsea, but Eddie Howe took a very long time because obviously he came in, he started off as a DM, and Eddie Howe took a time to kind of develop him as a left back. It took a year actually to develop him to the left back that you're seeing him now. So it's a bit of both for you, Warbajok. You haven't seen him, but also he hasn't been. You're seeing him as a left back now being this good due to the year, I guess not year off, but year of development under Eddie Howe. So for the City game, I wouldn't play Voltamada. I'd stick with Barnes and Wissa Murphy for quick breaks, in my opinion. Yeah, me too. Absolutely agreed. I would definitely do that as well. I think even if Osula was fit, he would have been good for it as well. Aaron says, our last game against Man City at the Etihad was in 2014. Our last win. So I don't think it's realistic to expect us to get there and win and force penalties. The tie is done and finished. I'm not gonna get, like I said, I'm gonna try my best not to get into like a binary conversation about what's realistic and what's unrealistic, and and say, oh, if you're being realistic, you're negative. If you're being hopeful or you believe in a winning mentality like I do, you're delusional or a dreamer. I was saying at the top of the show that I think you can have both. I think realistic can be accepting all the stats and essentially that are stacked against Newcastle for this game, but I don't accept the last part of that sentence, which is the tie is done and finished. And that's the opposite of a winning mentality. And I don't think that's going to grow an elite team. I think my sentence would be what I would say is we're still going to believe and we're going to act like a team that can turn the tie around. And so that's what I'm hoping the club, and that's what I'm hoping the team does, in my opinion. So there's definitely parts I agree with. Like I said, I want to do. I see both of those things together. I don't see them as separate, which is realism and a winning mentality. Aaron says, I thought Anthony Gordon looked sharp. I was just disappointed he didn't take his fullback on more, especially on the yellow card. Yeah, me too. Me too. Was clearly trying, but was having to come back a lot to help Paul. Yeah, that was difficult. And City are really, really good at like doing that, kind of also forcing the opposition wingers to come back and defend. Aaron says best player for us on the day was Lewis Hall. Yeah, very close with Bruno, I'd say. Just amazing player. Look, the only one willing to take the ball and make something happen. Yeah, he was phenomenal. Lewis Hall was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. So we've got a lot to look forward to. We've got the Etihad return. Looking forward to that. I'm especially keen to see what the club does going forward, what team Eddie Howe puts out, what performance the players put out. I'm really, really keen to see that. So, moving on to the match preview for the Wolves game itself. So, just before I talk about Wolves, their playing style and the tactics, let me just get let me just look at get the table. Can you guys? No, you can't see that. So let me just get the table and let's get an overall view of Wolves and what they're up to. And get you guys' feelings. And yeah, in the meantime, don't have to wait till the end. Send in your score predictions. Let me know your thoughts so far. Let me know your thoughts on the game and what you think is going to happen. Really, really keen to get your view. So let's get Wolves'. Let me actually go back quickly. Can you guys see that? Yes, you can. So look, they've had a difficult season, but their last 3 games, last 4 games actually, they're unbeaten in the last 4 games. 1-1 against Man United, and they had a narrow loss to Liverpool. To be fair, 2-1. 1-1 with Man United, 3-0 against West Ham, 1-1 away to Everton actually, and the 6-1 victory over Wolverhampton Wanderers. That's interesting. Not Wolverhampton, over Shrewsbury Town, excuse me. Over Shrewsbury Town for the FA Cup. So they're in good form. You can see from their team and their squad here, they're not. I think in the Premier League so far, they've scored 15 goals. So they really got low goals and assists amongst their team here. But let's look at the table and see where they're at and what they're up to, and to kind of get a perspective on what's happening. But before we get to them, we can see that obviously we're 6th currently. Newcastle United, we're currently 6th. We've won 9 games, 9 games, drawn 5, and lost 7. We're currently on 32 points of plus 5 goals. And we have an opportunity. We do have an opportunity to get as high as 4th, depending obviously what happens with Brentford and Liverpool, should we beat Wolverhampton away. So there's all to play for. Even if the teams above us win, it's still, like I said, it keeps us very much in the middle of that conversation, at the heart of that conversation for the top five, for the race for top five, which is super, super important, especially in the midst of playing so many games that we're in the middle of. Well, not quite even in the middle of, maybe one third through at the moment. And we've still got a few good amount of games to go to right until end of January, just past maybe into the next into half of towards the other half of February as well. So a lot to get through, and a victory against Wolves would be would help a lot to keep us in the conversation for top five. Whilst we've got so many domestic competitions, European competitions going on, that would really help. That victory would really help us. Now Wolves are currently last bottom of the league, and after 21 games played, or 20, can't remember, they've had one victory, they've had 4 draws, and they've had 16 defeats. We have been there and we have done that. They've scored 15 goals this season, again the least amount of goals than anybody in the league, and they have conceded 41 goals. Their manager, Victor Pereira, was sacked, and now obviously they got Rob Edwards. And we're going to talk about the Rob Edwards effect in a moment. And they're sitting on minus 26 goal difference in the league so far, the lowest in the league so far with 7 points. As mentioned, though they've had 16 losses, their last 3 games, they drew away to Man United. Then they went at home, they beat West Ham United 3-0 before going away to Everton again. Not again, it's going before going away to Everton and drawing that game 1-1. So they're in good form. They're unbeaten in the last 3 games. In fact, 4 games if you count Shrewsbury Town victory. And they're actually keeping the scores fairly. They're conceding, but they're conceding at a much lower rate. And the main thing is that they're scoring. So they'll fancy themselves in here. They're not gonna. This isn't the Wolves that were getting battered left, right, and center. Yes, they're bottom of the league, and I think at one point they were really much in. I think emotionally, psychologically, in tatters at different stages. But I think we're going to talk about it some more. I think they are a team in form, and they will fancy themselves against us at home, especially at the Molineux. And if we even look at their goal difference at the moment, like as I mentioned, looking at the XG, at the moment, as I mentioned, they scored 15 goals. But XG says they should have scored at least 19, possibly 20 goals. So they're underperforming by minus 4.7, which lets you know that they are creating chances, at least enough for 20 goals, but their strikers have been, and their forwards and their team has been underperforming severely. And their teams, and in terms of goals conceded, opposition teams have seriously been overperforming against them by 11 goals, nearly 12 goals. So they've conceded 41 goals, but if by the chances created, teams should have really scored nearly 30 goals against them. So I think there might be a goalkeeping issue. We talked about the same thing for Leeds, actually. I don't know if you guys remember. There was Leeds' goal difference was significantly higher compared to what the teams were actually creating against them. And for that last goal when Barnes scored that last goal against their goalkeeper, you can see why. I think their goalkeeper should have saved that, in my opinion. So they're underperforming in their goal scoring, and teams are really overperforming against them in terms of from a defensive point of view. So it could be a goalkeeping situation, it could be set pieces. I think it might be set pieces. If you guys know the breakdown of that, I'll be really interested to hear that. And so they are underperforming their current position by at least minus 17. This is 24. It should be. They should have 24 points, but they have 15 points. So I think it should be 9. I don't know why it's 17, but maybe it must be talking about the XG. It's talking about the goals conceded, goals, so about minus 17. So they should have 24 points. They should be out of the relegation zone. If it was the XG table, for instance, but it isn't. In fact, Sunderland should be in the relegation zone, but they're not. Sunderland are actually, where are Sunderland? Sunderland are 10th. So that's how cool the game can be, especially for Wolves at the moment. So what we can take from it, just a summary, they're in good form, Wolves. They're unbeaten the last 4 games. And their new manager, Rob Edwards, is making a difference. How much of a difference and what that is, we're going to talk about it in a moment. But first, I want to read your, see what you guys are saying in the chat, and we'll go from there. God bless you, folks. Yeah, if you just joined the channel as well, please do remember to like, share, and subscribe as you always do. Our conversion rate is higher than our strikers at the moment, so God bless them. Hopefully they'll match it. So do keep it up, guys. Keep hitting those likes and sharing as well. Aaron says, Philip, on more positive news, want your thoughts on the training ground? Yeah, looks a massive complex, which is going to compete with the world's best. I'm really excited about the prospect of it. Just like you, Aaron, I'm super, super excited about it. I posted about it as well. There's a bit of way to go in terms of actually getting the permission, I think, from either, I don't know, whether it's from the local council or whoever. But what I like about it is 2 things, really. That it's been linked to Craig Hope and others. So the owners, I think the owners linked it to Craig Hope. And I think what they're trying to show people, hopefully, it's all PR as well. We have to take that as PR. But the intention behind it is to show, hey, where we know, if you look at even the ground and the amount of space they're using, it's looking like it could be the biggest training ground possibly in England. I don't know if it's in Europe at the moment. So their intention is there. Hopefully we secure the premises. I think they're looking to pay like £15 million for the land itself. So that's not even the infrastructure. That's just to get the land. So it'll be incredible to see how much the training ground itself will be. And imagine also getting sponsors. Once we get sponsors for that training ground, how much we're going to earn from that as well, I think will be super, super important as well. Like it'll be really incredible to see what that would be, in my opinion. So I'm super excited about it. Obviously, player development, attracting new players, getting people to see the team in a different light as well. From the outside perspective, people's perceptions will change as well once they see, the infrastructure improving. And we've gone from literally using blow up thingy bobbers, what do you call it? Not blow up castles, dinghies or whatever for our team to, building super massive, super expensive, £200 million training complexes. It's by the grace of God. So super excited about it, Aaron. Super excited about it. Thank you for mentioning it, actually. That is proper positive news. And Aaron goes, Craig Hope's Newcastle have 25 million to spend. And we are looking at Thiago Gabriel. Yeah, I saw that according to Craig Hope, a Portuguese under-21 international, very tall, physical, and imposing. Yeah, I saw that. That's not the player I'm going to do a scouting review on, but I did see that. I need to learn a little bit more about him. So I think they said they're tracking him, they're scouting him. Let me know if, Aaron, did they say they're looking to make an offer? Because last time I saw, they were just tracking him. So do let me know. I'm keen to hear more about him. I'll probably do a scouting report on him. Should we hear more about him as well? So looking forward to that. So let's do it. Let's absolutely do it. All right. So let's talk about Wolves. I want to get you guys' opinions, and we're going to do a little bit of a tactical breakdown for them as well. Yeah, so Rob Edwards, the Rob Edwards effect. So what I've got here, guys, is Wolves under Victor Pereira this season, and then Wolves under Mr. Rob Edwards. So under Victor Pereira, they had 0% win rate, winless in 11 games. Guys, but when Eddie Howe took over, were we like 14 games? We went like 14 games without wins, didn't we? Yeah, man. We've been in the trenches. Rob Edwards has 25% win rate, including the FA Cup. Under Vitor Pereira, the best result this season was a 1-1 draw versus Bournemouth, where obviously it was a 6-1 victory against versus Shrewsbury. But then I would say 3-0 victory against West Ham was probably was a huge one for them. They had under Vitor Pereira, they had a 42% possession of the ball and were counter-attack focused, whilst with Rob Edwards, they now have 54 to 55% average, so much more proactive and much more ball dominance, and that's super interesting. Here's another really notable improvement for us to look at. XG, expected goals against, under Victor Pereira, it was 1.66 per match, almost two goals per match, XG. Whereas under Mr. Rob Edwards, they now have dropped down to 0.96 per match. That is significant. That's a 0.70 or 70% drop, which is huge. It is significant. So this is a different Wolves team, a significantly different Wolves team that we're seeing. I think both Arsenal and Liverpool, who did eventually beat them 2-1, I think it was each. Even Arsenal at the Emirates, they really struggled against this Wolves team. So this is going to be a huge test for Newcastle, especially playing away. Under Vitor Pereira, they were passive, low block, whereas under Mr. Rob Edwards, they're going to have an assertive high press. Under Vitor Pereira, they got deep lying wing backs, whereas under Mr. Rob Edwards, they got high attacking win back. So a real difference under Mr. Edwards. They have a much better defensive discipline. They are conceding much lower quality chances, which is important. And this is despite them playing a higher line, which I don't think Eddie Howe would mind actually, but they are playing a higher line. They're having a lot more purpose with their possession, 55% average possession, which is good. Really good, with a box midfield system that we're going to talk about in a moment. And it allows their better midfielders like Andre and João Gomes to dictate the play. We're going to talk about those two. And I think João Gomes has been linked to a move away as well. So they've got a lot, even Larson has been linked to a move away. One of them is to us as well. So they've certainly got the bounce effect. Thirdly, they've certainly got the bounce effect under Mr. Edwards. He said in his interviews that the belief has returned. Hopefully disappears against us, but if we're being real, if we're being honest, they got their belief back, and the form and their results prove that. They showed that from coming back. They were a goal down away to Everton before coming back, which they've failed to do in their last 11 games after going down. So they had an 11-game losing streak when they went a goal down. They turned that around against Everton. So Newcastle, who have a knack, unfortunately, for for losing leads, are going to have to. We're going to have to really pick our game up. So, guys, let me know what you're thinking so far, what you're hearing, what you're thinking about this. I'm going to go to a little bit more stats and metrics and talk about individual players in a moment, but how are you guys feeling about this game? It's a big game. It's a big game. What it means for us, what it means for Wolves. Can they create the comeback? I don't know. I'm hoping the January window distracts them and their players a little bit, but I'm going to take them as they are. And that's a team that's performing well and believing in themselves. And so we have to be ready for this for sure. Aaron says, just more scouting if I'm correct. Just more scouting if I'm correct, Philip. But looks promising. This is in regards to the Lecce defender. But looks more promising considering he hasn't been linked anywhere else. Has Ross Wilson's fingerprints on it. Okay. So I'm going to look out for him. For sure. Warburg says best bit of business any UFC can do without PSR effect is hiring all the Cobham ex-employees leaving, by the way, unless they go to Brighton or Strasbourg, of course. Are you following the Joe Shields giving positions for powers over seasoned coaches story there? Yeah, I've been hearing it more from other content creators. and then obviously them being really dissatisfied about it. But without really knowing the nuances and whether those appointments are good or not, it's difficult to say for me whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. On the surface of it, it sounds like a bad thing. Eddie Howe, for instance, hired his nephew, Andy Howe, but Andy Howe's been terrific for us, finding Tonali, Bruno Gomes, and other players. So, they'll accuse him of nepotism and all these things, and that some of it might be true. But if it works, and at the same time, speaking of reality, we're going to be speaking about reality. People like to work with people they know. For me, so long as the standards are high and kept high, there's going to be less of an issue with that, even though there's a sense of unfairness about it. Let's see what happens for Chelsea with that. But let me know what you think about that, Wobojog. How much you know about it. Would you want that at Arsenal, for instance? Aaron says Wolves have a few good players, but the standout for me is Mateus Mane. Has really thrived. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about him. I haven't seen him play just yet, but I've been hearing a lot about him. Has really thrived in this Wolves side in difficult circumstances. Definitely one player we should be looking at in the summer. I've been hearing a lot about Mane, so I'll definitely be looking out for him as well. He has been linked to a few moves. So key metrics, obviously the 20th position. They've got more than 7 points. They've got 15 points, I think. Sorry, the gap between us is, I think the gap between us is, no, it's more than that. I don't know what the 0.7 is for. That's crazy. Goal gap, 15 goals scored versus 41 conceded. Yeah, they're underperforming. What did I say? So top scorer is Ladislav Krejci and Santiago Bueno with 2 goals each. So really low. Progressive engine of João Gomes, 90 progressive passes. So far this season of 6 yellow cards. So it's important for us to shut him down. He's the one that pushes the ball forward for them. And their primary target, though, is Hugo Bueno, who I think plays as either on the wings, I think. So he's going to have 70 progressive receptions. So when João Gomes is passing the ball forward, it's probably very likely that Hugo Bueno is on the receiving end of it. So it's important for Eddie Howe. It's important for the players to get their tactics right around those two and making sure that we can slow them down. But obviously also Mr. Larson, I can't remember how many goals he scored or hasn't scored this season, but he is a player that I would really like at Newcastle, to be honest. Big, tall, athletic, decent on the ball. Not a Voltamada, good on the ball, but good. Can run in behind as well. Is powerful runner. Can be a target man, but can also, like I said, run in behind. And a decent, good finisher, both on his feet and with his head as well. So I would, especially as a third striker, he'll be a really good buy for us if we were to have him. So I'm not looking forward to him. I think was it last season? I think he scored against us and at least assisted against us. So we have to look out for him. So Wolves in terms of playing style, so style transition, they've gone into a 3-4-2-1, flexible 3-2-1 formation or a box midfield of Andre, Gomez, and Bellegarde, creating central overloads. Newcastle tend to do quite well against central overload, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. They press a lot more. They have a significant increase in their middle third of tackles. So transitions from passive to assertive. We talked about that a little bit earlier. That's really made a difference into not only how many goals they create, but also the low number of chances that they concede. They have a width first attack, so heavy reliance on their wing backs, Bueno, to bypass the midfield lines, for instance. So again, probably Lewis Miley, but also Lewis Hall are gonna be in the battle with their wing backs. They are a lot more possession dominant with 54 possession average, especially away from home. Momentum, they're unbeaten. Well, it's 4 games now. Emerging star of Mateus Cunha, who we've talked about before, has got 2 goals in 2 games. Aaron's mentioned him. He had the highest match rating versus Everton, so he had a really good game. So he's in good form and he's feeling himself. So it's going to be a tough game, guys. Wolves are now keeping the ball and pressing more effectively. But they got to convert their chances a little bit more, but their possession of a bit more of high quality chances and improve their shot efficiency, which I'm hoping does not happen against us. So going into the tactical breakdown, and I'm going to be mentioning this. Where is this for? Where have I gone to? This is the Man City game, I think. Was this the Man City game? Oh, yeah, it was the Man City game. That's the part I wanted to mention to you guys. But anyway, I'm going to be mentioning this. We're going to be doing a bit of a tactical preview for their game. You can see there, you can see from here, guys, making sure you guys can see this. Yeah, you can. So I'm going to mention this in the tactical breakdown. That 3-2-4-1 formation shape that they have, but how they're. Let me get back on the screen. How do I get back on the screen? Here we go. How they use their fullback, Chow. I can't say his name properly, but I think he was the fastest player in Serie A or something like that. And Bueno on both on the right and left hand side. You can see the 2 Lopez, Arias, Gomez, and Andre, who form the box midfield in the middle, with a Strand Larson or Krejci as the leading players on the sides there. But Arias and Lopez support Larson, and they're also those 3 in Larson, Arias, and Lopez are the first line of defense in the middle of that park. So this is what allows them to counter really well, but also to press really high, to keep possession, to create chances through their wingers. So that's going to be a big part of their play, but also not to be too exposed if they get caught on the attack, and if not to get caught in the transition, they still keep the 5 at the back, or with the 2 pivots of Andre and Gomez, with the 3 centre backs as well. So there's a lot there for Newcastle to deal with, and it's going to be really interesting to see what Eddie does in terms of going forward with it. In terms of Wolves going forward. So let me bring the tactics board up, and then I'll read your chats. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are. Send in your predictions. Send in your predictions. Stop showing this. Share this instead. Send in your predictions. I'm really keen to hear what you guys are saying. Where are you? Where's my tactics board? Here we go. Is that it? Yeah, it is. Okie dokie. Okay, so we've got the tactics board working. All fired up. So I'm going to get into it in a moment, but let me first read. What you guys are saying in the chat. Aaron says Wolves have a few good players, but the stand-up for me. Oh no, I read that. Sorry. Warburg says TLDR in more than one case, an underqualified coach. Okay, I don't know what TLDR means though. Qualified coach gets a promotion over qualified or more qualified season Cobham coaches. Last example, a Maresca replacement, McFarlane was supposed to be +1. Okay, so he's getting more underqualified coaches. So that's not good. That's a recipe for disaster then, if they're going to continue doing that. But again, their board this all comes from the top. Like what happens in these, this is like mid-level management, their sporting directors and their scouts and everything else, their mid-level management. This emphasis, this influence, stems from the board, to be honest. So leadership is influence, and so as John Maxwell says, so this is the influence of the owners, and this is what we're seeing. This is subpar. This is lowering the quality. This is not good, especially in the mid to long term for them. Wobajog says a UEFA Pro license coach, Hassan Suleiman, who's been with them for 20 years. Think the name of the academy. Think the name of the academy that's in question called Kinetic Academy that Joe Shields is linked with. Man, that must be a lot of turmoil there as well. That's crazy. Adrian, thanks for sending in your predictions. I hope that's 3-2 to Newcastle. I hope that is 3-2 to Newcastle. Let me know. Wobojog says, I would take most of the coaching staff from Cobham or City personally. They have a solid track record, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, they'll take a trip up to Newcastle. Adrian says, of course, good. 3-2 to Newcastle. It's a lot of goal. That's probably a fairly accurate scoreline, to be honest. Wobojog says, I would realistic scoreline. Wobojog says, I would take most of the coaches. Oh no, I read that part. Sorry. Aaron says, I think Trips comes in for Hall. Okay. With Champions League in mind, I also think Bruno gets rested and Willock comes into the team. I've also got a feeling Eddie gives Elanga a crack and a Voltemada plays. Okay, so thanks for sending in your lineup there, Aaron. It's going to be rotation for sure, isn't there? But guys, keep sending in your score predictions. I would love to hear it. Warbodrug says Wolves are such a banana skin now, by the way. LOL. 2-1 the Wolves. Oh, thanks for that, Warbodrug. Goodness gracious. I hope that will not be the case for sure. But thanks for sending that in anyway. All right, so I've gone for this is Wolves' I think this is their starting lineup from their previous game. So that 3-2-4-1 formation, we're going to go through various parts of it as well. But for Newcastle, I've gone for I need to make sure I get the here we go. Let me get this. All right, so for Newcastle, I've gone for the 4-3-3, obviously. I've kept our main of defense, a lot of our main players, because we played on Tuesday, so we've now got Wednesday off, Thursday off, Friday off, Saturday off, and then we play on Sunday. So we would have had 4 days rest and before match day, which is better recovery time than what we've been having all season. So that's the positive part of it. Obviously, we've got the travel to go, but that's what makes me think that we will probably play, if they're fit, most of our starting lineup. So I've gone for our main of defensive line: Botman, Chow, Miley, Hall. I've gone for our top Premier League. I've gone for our main midfielders as well: Bruno, Tonali, and Joe Linton. And if anyone knows what the situation with Jacob Murphy is, I'll be really, in terms of his injury, hopefully it's not too serious. I think the last I heard is Eddie Howe saying it's not too serious. But in terms of our line, I might change my mind on Wissa, but I think it's going to be a Gordon, Wissa, and Barnes on the right going forward. Let's see if I change my mind. I think we're going to have rotation in the second half regardless. I think Trippier will probably come on for Hall, and Miley will go to the left or something along, or just a straight change of Hall. As we saw before, I think Elanga will probably be on the bench. I think he had a rocky. He really needs the confidence. I can't see him starting, but I see him coming in as a sub at the moment. I've got Murphy on the bench, but that's a question mark. And obviously Voltemada as well, ready to rotate with Wissa. I think Willock will probably rotate as well. Ramsey be ready to rotate as well. So Shah obviously is not available. So I think there'll be some pretty heavy rotations during the games as well. So let me talk a little bit about Wolves and kind of walk through different scenarios. So 3-2-4-1. which goes into a five, which can go into a 5-3-2 when they got this defensive shape. Make sure I've got you guys. Can you guys see that? Yes. So it goes into a 5-3-2 shape. They've got a different kind of phases of change, to be honest. So 5-3-2 shape when they're kind of in a more defensive line, which can also go into a 5-4-1 shape when they are kind of in the low block, having to defend, and they always keep the one striker up front, which is useful to have someone of Larsson's physicality as well as powerful running and pace, that you can always have that ball over the top. So they go into that 5-4-1 shape as well. It's going to be interesting for how Newcastle deal with that. We've not been tremendously good with low blocks, though I don't anticipate, from everything I've seen in the stats, for Wolves to be in a low block for most of the game, especially when they're playing at home and they need the points. In terms of when they go into an attack, so we're going to talk about it a little bit more. But when they go into that attack, as mentioned before, they got the three in the back, and they've got a couple of Buenos here. I've got Bueno in the wrong place here, I think. But they keep the three in the back with the two in the pivot. They got the two advanced eights, and in Juan and in Gomez. And with Larsson, we play with advanced eights as well, obviously, as the main striker up front. Their fullbacks into Chawa. It's meant to be Bueno here, I don't know, is it Bueno or Wolfie? I don't know how I got it wrong. But anyway, to Chawa and Bueno, providing the whip from the outside. They will be providing the whip, balls into the boxes as well. So that's how it kind of, as well as cutbacks as well for the on-rushing midfield, as well as obviously having the big Larsson up front as well, ready to header as well. So that's going to be important for them. And that's how it kind of, in terms of how it kind of plays out, how their possession has increased so much is when they keep this box midfield in the middle here. And that's what's given them that possession and allowed them to have some degree of dominance when they're playing in games. And what that allows is the likes of Bueno and T'Challa to get in behind, with Larsson able to also kind of, what he'll do is try to pin the centre backs back as well here, allowing the eights to advance in these type of pockets here and get shots off as well. Whilst obviously the main point of the eights is to outnumber the three in the middle here, in terms of the four, in terms of obviously a lot of teams play with three in the middle like we do. So that's going to be a big part of what they do. This is going to be a big, massive part of how they're going to look to essentially dominate Newcastle going forward. So it's working for them. It's what set them off so far. So going back to that 4-3-3, I'm going to, before I get to that, actually, let me know what you guys, I don't know if you guys are saying anything at the moment. Are you impressed by kind of their tactical switch and what they're doing? Eddie Howe's got to come up with a solution for this. Now, this is not uncommon. Obviously, a lot of teams play like this, especially Chelsea. And I think we put up, obviously, there is a solutions for kind of the box midfielders and what teams do. Aaron says, going to be a tight game. I'm thinking a 2-0 win to Newcastle. I like that. I'd love that scoreline. Hopefully that's what we get. Aaron gives a predicted team of Pope, Miley, Child, Botman, Trips, Yatanali, Willock, J7, Gordon, Vortamada, and Ilanga. Thanks for sending that in, Aaron. Yeah, a rotated team. Makes sense. Aaron says, Mateus Mane, I think definitely starts for Wolves. Where would he play? Let me know where Mateus Mane, because I'm quite limited on how much I know him. Let me know where he would play. All right, so let me start off with this Wolves box midfield first and kind of their approach play and what Newcastle can do. And as mentioned in the previous one, the main point of that box midfield is Wolves are going to try and dominate the middle of the park here, have 4-on-3 situations where they can rotate and keep the ball, and use Larsson to pin our centre backs back, creating gaps, allowing for the overloads, allowing for their eights to advance, and in their hope to at least and to cause overloads in the central areas with the two fullbacks pressing up really really high here, and hopefully what they're going to hope to do is obviously keep our fullbacks kind of also occupied as well. So what they're looking to do is create these distances between our defensive line, allowing the advanced eights to get into these positions and to get shots off as well. So that's a big thing about what they're doing. And even if they lose the ball, what they're hoping to do is having their two pivots here to guard the central of the midfield and force us wide, whilst they've got the three players in the three defenders in the back there, keeping some defensive solidity. So let's start off in terms of from this position, in terms of what Newcastle can do and how I would expect Howe to do. Now, you'll know what you're probably going to have is obviously it depends really. I think when we're kind of dealing with the box midfield, so if we start off here with Hichan and Gomez, there's different ways to kind of, the first thing you want to do is to resolve the imbalance, the the 4 against 3 imbalance that is caused here with Andre Gomez. Let me get the line here. Gomez. Oh no, that's the wrong line. Here we go. So where is it? Vector path. Let me see if this works. Why is it red? Oh, because I got it in red. That's why. Hold on, guys. I prefer blue. Well, I don't know what you call that. Is it not turquoise? Is it turquoise? I don't know. So anyway, you got these here. That's going to be the big thing for them. Keeping these guys here. So what's going to be important is to be able to match Wolves in the middle of the park and stop these overloads. Now, one way is obviously to have one of the defenders, centre backs, to step up. It can be either Botman or Chow. You've got Botman stepping up with Tonali maybe going out here, Bruno stepping up here, and Joe Linton. So now you've got a man-to-man press, really. So Chow will then obviously have more of a focus here, for instance, with Larson. So you kind of almost go into a man-to-man press, really, if you want to be kind of, if you want to just match them in terms of man-to-man and stop the whole overload situation from happening in the first place. And then, just obviously the game isn't going to be frozen like this, but that'll be the first way to kind of ensure that. So you got Bruno here against Andre, Joe Linton here against Arias, who's a capable player. But I'll match Joe Linton with physicality. Botman against Hichan, again, match for physicality. Tonali as well, match him for physicality. And I fancy Chow against Larson as well. So that's going to be a big thing here, with Miley up against Wolf and Hall against the Chow, for instance. Though what we would typically do, obviously. So that's one way of doing it as well. And to kind of obviously what the effect of that will be is, hopefully, if we were to actually, let me step back. I think the other way we're probably going to be doing as well, though, is what we typically do is to stop that from happening. We go back into where's Chow? So Chow will be, we do go back into a 5-3-2 type of situation. What that allows is us to ensure that we don't get overrun on the flanks and we don't get overrun in the middle of the park. And so what that then means is that for the likes of Wolf, for instance, if he's on the ball here, you've got Barnes and Gomez, and you've got Hall and Gordon against Chow, and you've got Joe Linton looking at after what do you call it? What's his name? Juan as well. So making sure that we can stop them from playing that way. So I'll be not surprised. I won't be surprised. The wrong way of saying it. I wouldn't want us to be defending like in a low block like this throughout the game. That would be crazy. Though anything is And I'm not going to say that it is possible, but we want to avoid doing all of that. So what we want to be able to do is to also break on walls as well, and that's going to be a big part of what we do. Where is it? So there is going to be situations where I think maybe even Gordon should stay up a little bit further up as well. The key is for us, if we're going to hit them on the break, you're going to have your Buenos and Doherty's up there, Arias and Andre here. I think the main aim for us is how can we get in behind. So should the ball break and we get it, can we advance? Can we get into these? How can we essentially break on them as well? Who's been really, really key for us is Hall with his ability to break. So with his ability to carry the ball and get it to the likes of Joe Linton and Gordon, for instance, in these type of situations. So that's going to be really key for us. And you're going to see our man Wisser getting into these type of areas as well. Hall's really, really good at carrying the ball. So even when he gets on the ball, he's going to make the likes of Arias have to make a decision, right? Arias is going to have to make a decision as to, okay, do I meet Hall? Because if I meet Hall and I go at him, there's a chance not only that he could get past me, but even if I can get to him, what happens is that Hall can just pass the ball off to Gordon here, and you're going to have Doherty, who's not the quickest of players, in 1v1 situations with Gordon, which is never a good idea. You're going to have Wisser running. You're going to have Joe Linton running. And it could cause you a 3-versus-2 overload. The other situation for Arias to answer then is, okay, if I let Hall have the ball and I let him continue running, it's going to push our defensive line even further back like this. And that could hurt us anyway, because it's going to allow the likes of Barnes now to get into the game as well, and Bruno to get up the field. And so it's going to be interesting to see what Arias does. What would be his instructions in kind of going forward? Does he ignore, for instance, Joe Linton's run? If it's Joe Linton breaking through the sides here, or it could be Tonali as well, breaking through here as well, and go for Hall, or does he run with Joe Linton as well? And what you get, create these type of situations where they're being forced back further on. That'll be really key. I'll be really kind of keen to see how they respond to what they do with that and how they respond. I think also, so that'll be like that's the major threat from the left hand side. Also, Barnes has been really terrific for us as well. So we do also have the ability to break on the right hand side. What's been really good for us is Charles Parson. Now that actually we've also, let me go back actually, speaking of Parson, right? What's been really good is that having a left-footed centre backs. We're having Botman using his left foot, Chow using his right foot, because then what it allows us to do as well, when the ball does break, so you put Arias here, Andre here, when the ball does break, you've got these channels here. Let me get them here. Where is it? Vector. Is it vector space? No, it's not vector space. It's a little bit of a... You get Botman able to play and Chow able to play in these areas here. So let me do, yeah, I'll just keep it there, fine, whatever. Able to, because he's able to use his left foot, you're able to get, then if the ball does break, they can hit it off straight away, either to your Halls or to your Gordons or to your Joe Lintons, and we can break the ball that way. So I think if you're Wolves, you're going to have to be really careful about how you do your build-up and how you advance your players, because even if Wolves fail to do that, if He-Chan doesn't close down Botman, for instance, and stays back, you allow for you then give Botman even more opportunity, for instance, to maybe even hit a diagonal to the right and put Barnes in 1v1 versus Krejci, or give Botman the time to really hit the ball out to Gordon and put him 1v1s with Gordon with Doherty, for instance. And that's not going to be good. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. They're going to have, when they're in these situations, they're going to have to press. And it'll be a similar thing, what Newcastle did, for instance, against Palace was really, really good, where they had the likes of Tonali, for instance, go into these advanced spaces here, and he would rotate with, so maybe Barnes, I think it was good, I can't remember, it was someone would drop off. Murphy was in the case. You'll have Barnes dropping off here, Tonali taking up the space. So you've got this rotation going on. So maybe it will put the likes of Krejci a little bit out of line because he's following his man, and you get the situation where Wissa fills in the space. Maybe Bruno gets on the other. Actually, Gordon actually gets into these spaces here, and you get Chow then getting the ball out into these situations, creating these type of situations, 2-versus-2 situations going back as well. So I think we've been doing quite well. We did that really well against Crystal Palace in St. James's Park. I don't know if you guys remember when we highlighted that sort of movement, where Newcastle have been really, really good at that. So I'll be keen to see how Wolves respond to that in terms of from a defensive point of view. I'll be really keen to see what is their kind of how they respond in those type of situations when the team is rotating like that. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are. I'm really keen to get you guys' thoughts. I'm going to discuss a little bit more. Aaron says he would like to play in the left 8. Okay, left 8 role. That's where Wolves have been playing him. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Aaron. Mane in the left 8. Okay, so I'm going to look out for him. He probably does play, to be honest, especially when he's got 2 goals in 2 games. I think if you're the manager, you're gonna want to see him play. Newcastle, for our part, whether Wolves on a 5-3-2 or 4-5-1, we're also going to be attacking ourselves and getting up the field as well. We've been doing more and more, either in these 2-3-2-3 situations or 3-2-3-2 situations. But if we're looking at the 2-3-2-3 situation, how Newcastle come out of that, and what we do, keeping the 2 centre backs here. With Botman and Chow, I still, I would fancy them against whether it's Hichan and Larson, but Larson is dangerous. He's got the pace. I see us doing that a lot more, having the 2 centre backs in the back. And what that allows us to do is to allow, for instance, the likes of Hall to either invert and add an extra man in the back here. And what you have is the 3 across with Barnes and Gordon advancing. And you've got the 2 8s in Bruno and Joe Linton in these areas. So what that allows us to do is match them in the middle, match them defensively, but also match them in the middle, but create overloads or at least threaten the overloads in the back here. And so with Chow's ability to get the ball into these areas as well, and Botman, this is going to be crucial. I think the movement of Hall is going to be crucial as well. So even with Hall for instance, Hall is going to be pivotal in this game as well. So with Hall being able to do either staying on the outside, allowing Gordon to get on the inside, or at least Gordon to stay in these situations and creating these 3-versus-2 situations. Let me get the vector. Here we go. Is it vector? Yeah, it is the vector. Hopefully it's the vector. Or do I need the... Nah, it's the wrong one. I got the wrong one. I'm going to get it right at some point. And that's the field view. Where is it? Vector path, vector space. Here we go. Vector space. So Joe Linton, Hall, and Gordon. So what it allows us to do is then create the threat of these type of overloads happening. So if you're Doherty, again, you don't want 1v1s you don't want 1v1s of Gordon. If you're Arias, you want to make sure that there isn't the overloads. But what then happens is that you leave to Chawa in these 1v1s of Hall. So it's going to be interesting again to see how they respond. And T'Challa is going to be up and down for most of this game. And sometimes it's going to be very difficult to keep up, to do that throughout the game. It's going to be the same thing for Hall, but it's going to be interesting how they do that. So you're going to have these 3-versus-2 situations, or the threat of them with Wissa either going here or threatening, keeping Bueno honest as well, stretching the players like that. Joe Linton threatening to get into these situations. But Joe Linton's going to get a lot more shots on goal nowadays as well as goals. So you can have either Gordon on the outside here, where he's been dangerous as well, getting balls in, getting assists. 1v1 versus Doherty, I fancy him either to cut in for instance, to carry the ball and to cut in, or to even stand the ball up in these situations and allow Joe Linton, Wissa, Bruno, maybe even Tonali if he can, to get in these situations and get the ball into the box. So that's going to be interesting. Got Gordon and the ball here into the box as well. Kind of get into these situations as well. Or you got Gordon being really, really good at these underlapping runs. You see a lot of these highlights that people are playing nowadays is Hall having these underlapping runs. And what happens in these situations is that you're going to see probably a little bit less of T'Chau. You're going to make the likes of Arias have to answer a question again. Do I meet Hall or do I stand back? If I meet Hall, what I risk is again Hall either getting the ball across to Gordon and being in these one-on-one 1v1 situations with Doherty. Again, not something that we want to do, or with the advanced eights, if you're Arias, give me the ball. Here we go. Give me the ball. If you're Arias, if you meet him, you also risk. What you also do is risk Hall getting the ball, for instance, to the likes of Joe Linton. And with Gordon in these situations, Doherty, again, could be forced to either leave Gordon alone or leave Joe Linton alone, or maybe cause Bueno to overstretch with Wissa here, run into these type of space and getting overloaded if Andre is not careful and doesn't follow his man. Even if he follows his man, for instance, follows Wissa, he gives the likes of Tonali space here in the middle. So again, I think Arias is going to be very, very key in terms of his decision-making, and Gomez. But Gomez and Arias have been really, really good as tight pivots. And so Newcastle are going to have to be really, really patient and really smart about how they break that down. I think Hall is going to be very key to that with his ability on the ball, especially with his underlapping runs. But I think Miley is going to be super important with this as well, as a midfielder, with his ability in the ball and his ability to kind of break to get into these advanced areas. Because what Gomez is going to have to deal with is, where is it? Vector space is the Miley. Oh, come on. How do I do it? Miley, Barnes, Bruno, and a little bit of Wissa situations here. So then even with Gomez and Arias, when they come across with Wolfie and Krejci here, with the likes of Miley and Bruno, their ability on the ball, Wolves are going to have to be clever in terms of how they defend and kind of the threat of overloads again. Wissa's movement is going to be very, very important. Can he make sure that he keeps Bueno moving across? Maybe Arias has to come and fill in here, or I don't know who would come to fill in here. Would it be Doherty, for instance, and try and fill in? But they don't want to create these gaps. And they're going to ask, Miley and Bruno are going to ask these type of questions. And Wolf, how are they going to come out? How are they going to defend in these situations? Because Miley has the ability to get the ball inside, from maybe to a Bruno, to hold off attacks and allow the likes of Wissa to get into the back, and Joe Linton in these advanced areas. Gordon's going to be very, very important in these areas as well, trying to get into the box as well. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how, because they could end up being overloaded by 3 versus 2s, 4 versus 3s, if they're not careful. Now, they can keep their 1 man up front or 2 man up front, but I fancy Botman and Chow against these guys. So these are the type of situations that kind of triangles or maybe 4 versus 3s that could be formed here with the 2 inverted. So I actually think that Miley and Hall are going to be really, really crucial in these situations and what they do, as well as Bruno in terms of like being able to connect with the midfield in the 2 versus 2 situations, as well as out wide. We mentioned Gordon and Barnes showed his ability to he's getting better in his 1v1s, but also is getting better at getting into the box and getting involved as well, and scoring goals and timing it really, really well. Gordon versus T'Chau is going to be important. Wingers out wide. Yeah, I mentioned that. Golden and Barnes. Our advanced eights and Joe Linton and Bruno. Talked a little bit about that. Send in your predictions, guys. I'm going to give mine in a moment. What was there I wanted to mention? Matching Wolves. Yeah, and also in terms of our own kind of midfield compactness and making sure that we don't get caught out. So even if Wolves do manage to break out, for instance, the ball gets out to Huang Yi Chang, having Tonali maybe there, getting back, either going into the if Botman goes out to meet Juan Chan, Tonali getting back into Botman's space or helping with kind of holding the ball off Chan with Tonali as well, Hall getting in the middle of that as well, getting kind of adding a third man and kind of getting the ball back as quickly as possible. Can we get, T'Challa might set off and think, okay, I'm going to get the ball here, but then we close them down and create spaces here for Newcastle to break forward. That'll be interesting to see. So we have to remain kind of compact in those midfield areas as well, where Wolves are going to try to overload us. From a build-up position, I'm going to go to the chat just before I get to the build-up position. Is there anyone in the chat? Yeah, got folks in the chat. Aaron says, I do think defensively that back three lacks pace. They do. I fancy him to have more joy in his game and perhaps give him confidence. Oh, for Elanga, yeah, I've not enjoyed what I've seen so far, but need to rotate. We do need to rotate for instance as well. It's going to be interesting to see. It's like it's playing whack-a-mole. Who's going to play? Who's not going to play? Langa, yeah, talking about Langa, yeah. Who's going to play? It could be a really good game for him to come into. Barnes played 45 minutes versus City. He's had 4 or 5 days break. I see him playing. What Wolves have been doing as well is their press has really improved. So we're going to talk about our build-up play and what Wolves do. So Wolves are going to be aggressive. They are going to be aggressive in their build-up. And it's going to be interesting to see like I said, for many teams, not just Wolves here, who do they least want the ball? Because it doesn't really matter. Do they want Botman not to have the ball or Chow to have the ball? They're both good on the ball and can break out. So it's going to be interesting to see which side they choose to block off. Do they want Hall not to have the ball, or who is it going to be? Miley? It's going to be very difficult for them to figure out which side they want to block off. But say, for instance, Larson, they want to force us out left. So you're going to see this press of their advanced eight. How they do it's going to be interesting. So maybe Wolf stays a little bit behind here with Gomez pressing. I don't know, actually. Maybe T'Challa stays here with the advanced eight, He Chang supporting Larson. Maybe to stop Chow from getting the ball, so he allows Wolf to stay kind of closing down the defender. With Gomez either maybe moving across here to stop the ball from going to Tonali. Botman here. In these situations, maybe Juan Chang wants to either... It's going to be interesting because does T'Challa go here or does he stay behind? It's going to be interesting how they progress that press, Wolves. How many men do they want to commit forward? Because even if they have Juan Chang block off Botman on this situation and stop Hall, what that then causes is a space here for Joe Linton. Arias would have to go out and meet him and be really, really physical. But then what happens then again is there's the threat of Joe Linton being able to turn and get the ball off to Gordon. And again, you don't want the 1v1 with Gordon. Let me take this off. You don't want these 1v1s with Gordon situations. So Arias is going to have a lot of decisions to make in this. Does he hold off? Does he stay? Then what's the point of pressing if Joe Linton can just come in and turn around and get the ball here? Or would it happen that T'Challa would be in charge of Joe Linton, but then you free up Hall? It might be a more difficult. Maybe they might chance it and say, well, Pope isn't going to get that ball to Hall, which could happen, but it'll be it'll be a risk because Botman can still get the ball, and because he's got that left foot, Juan Chan's going to have to really be on top of him to stop Botman from getting that ball across the hall in those type of situations. That's going to be interesting. If you're Larson and you're Juan Chan, you're going to see our centre back split at this as well, which allows the likes of Tonali to get here. Maybe Joe Linton stays a little bit further up, and what you get is Bruno joining in instead. So Tonali will be here, Bruno will be here, and what you might get is a little bit these type of situations where what's it going to be like with Bruno maybe getting on the end of the ball? What you might also have is Joe Linton taking up a bit more centre stage. He's able to kind of fancy himself in kind of aerial duels. If the ball goes a bit high, can he collect the ball here and turn around and see Weston, the likes kind of get into the spaces as well, collect the ball. So I mentioned Miley and Hall being important, but I think also Joe Linton might be important as well. He's going to be kind of in charge of kind of the aerial, his ability in the air is going to count. Andre and Arias are quite short players. So if Pope ends up going long in any of these situations, he ends up going long, Arias isn't going to win in a 1v1 in an aerial duel with Joe Linton. Joe Linton might header the ball onto Gordon again. Wissa might be running these situations as well. And again, creating these 1v1s of Hall or 2v2s with Bueno and Doherty. That could be crucial as well. It could be the similar situation as well on the right side. So it's going to be interesting how they do that. But there's opportunities for Newcastle to have gaps in the middle and have the players to be able to exploit them as well. It'd be a similar thing on the right side as well. So Larson will be really keen to kind of maybe stop Charles getting the ball. But if he doesn't, Charles really good at getting the ball over to Miley. Maybe Miley stays out on the right here and draws Wolfie out a little bit. So by drawing Wolfie out a little bit here, or Wolf, I don't know what, excuse me, I'm not getting his name right. He ends up creating these type of spaces here in the back for Barnes. So Cressy then, what the situation then is here for Cressy is, do I follow Barnes or do I stay where I am? But if I let Barnes go, I leave myself vulnerable to him getting the ball and breaking, and then the likes of Wissam and Gordon having come across again, or opening that space up for me. This is a bit. Here, take that off. Take that off. Jeez. It won't be coming across like that. If I come out here again, he leaves himself vulnerable, for instance, for Bruno to get on the run, Joe Linton to get on his bike, or Tonali, probably be Tonali on this side, to get on his bike as well and kind of get into these gaps. So it's a good idea and it's been working for them, but Newcastle have the ability to get into these gaps and really hurt Wolves. So I'd be really keen to see what kind of press they end up getting. Barnes has been really, really good at cutting in, either drawing and getting fouls off. You know, does Cressy stay where he is? If he does that again, it allows us to build up from the back a little bit more. I wouldn't mind Ramsdale playing this game, to be honest, but I think it'll probably be Pope, because Ramsdale has the ability on the ball to either drive the ball or obviously distribute the ball a little bit better. So I wonder if Howe would consider playing Ramsdale. Where is he? Where's Ramsdale? Where is Ramsdale? Ramsdale. Would Howe consider playing Ramsdale instead of Pope? Guys, if you haven't already, do send in your predictions. It'd be really good to hear, because Ramsdale is really good, because what it allows Newcastle to have is you get a split with the centre backs here, and you'll almost have a third man in the middle here, where again, with Ramsdale's ability on the ball, T'Challa and Gomez and Andre and Arias, but more T'Challa and Gomez then have to question themselves: do they just let Ramsdale, come in the middle here and allow the likes of maybe Bruno and others to pick up the ball and create these spaces in the back, and allow Newcastle to start creating situations where, not Ramsdale all the way up there, to get the ball in these dangerous areas, to be able to turn around and allow the likes of Gordon and Wissa to get on the end of things? That's going to be interesting. Or does T'Challa go out to meet Gordon and leave space behind for a Joe Linton or Bruno to get on the ball? So if I wouldn't mind playing Ramsden in this game, to be honest. So that'd be my initial thought. So yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts. Like, I'm really keen to get your thoughts on it. In terms of Wolves, they're in good form. It's working for them. So I'll be really, really keen to get their thoughts. Big up Ryan, Ryan G1877. Big up to you, sir. Big up Toon Tactics. Big up to you, sir. And God bless you. Good to see you. Ryan says, I imagine Mosquera will play in the back three instead of Doherty. Oh, is he fit then? He must be fit. Is Mosquera fit? Because he didn't come up on the thing. Let me just ask. Let me go on a little bit of a Google, because he didn't come up on my is Mosquera Wolves fit to play? Versus Newcastle, because I'm not showing straight away. I can't get an answer. Let me know if Mosquera's fit. That probably changes the dynamics for sure, because he has the pace. He's got the aggression as well. That'll be a big battle if Mosquera is fit. To be honest, if Mosquera is fit, that'll be a big battle with him and Gordon, which I hope Gordon takes on. But Mosquera is really good. He's a good player, aggressive player. So I think they'll be keen for him to. That does change the dynamics a little bit as well. So it'll be really interesting. I think Joe Linton is going to be playing a key part, and Hall as well, because then you don't want Gordon to be picking up the ball here in the midfield area. Where you want Gordon to be is a lot more further up the pitch in 1v1 situations with Mosquera in these type of situations. That'll be my thinking. So thanks for that, Ryan. Dempsey, you think Whistle will start? Yeah, I think Whistle will start. He came off at the traditional 70th minute. I think he's the preferred starter. It should have been that way from the beginning of the season. I think if he's fit and he's ready, I think he starts. Yeah, and they've had 4 days. They would have had 4 days rest, 5th day's the match as well. So I think he'll start. Ryan says Mane will start probably in Sosa instead of Arias or Andre. Okay, so Mane. So yeah, I think Aaron talked about him as well, actually. So where's Mane? I'm going to talk about Mane. Ethan. Here we go, Mane. So Mane instead of Arias. So that'll be interesting. So from an offensive point of view, I know Mane is dangerous as well, but I wonder how he is defensively, because he's going to have his hands full with Joe Linton. For sure. He's going to have his hands full with Joe Linton. I'll big up Ryan. You're a Wolves fan. Okay, big up to you. So you definitely know who's fit and who's ready. God bless you. It's always great, always a privilege to have opposition fans come on the channel as well. Okay, so no injury news. Okay, excellent. Thanks for that, Ryan. Really appreciate you for that. Ryan says, I hope Tolu starts. I'm really not a fan of Strand Larson at all. I think he's awful. Okay. That's interesting. Aaron agrees. He says he thinks he dodged a bullet there, but I think he's offered for about 40 million. I am a bit of a fan of Strand Larson. I think he'd be really good for us, but I see where you're coming from, though, Ryan. But guys, send me your score predictions. I'm going to give mine before we talk. We finish the show with a scouting profile of a player that has come of interest to us. So, and I'll be really keen to get rival fans' views as well. Good to see rival fans coming up on here as well. Your score predictions. We've had a 3-2 from Adrian Pickett. I think 2-0 from Aaron. I think Robojog was here earlier saying 2-1 to Wolves. He's an Arsenal fan. Wolves are in good form. We're playing away. They're unbeaten in 4. They have been conceding less chances, conceding less goals as well. And I'm sure from a Wolves point of view, you want to believe that you can do the unbelievable, and that is stay in the league as well. So I'm sure that you'll fancy yourselves as well. Ryan says more than we'd have got for Kuna. Aaron, can't believe they didn't take it. That's true. Um, despite the result against Man City, they say you're as good as your last game. Um, we did lose 2-0 to Man City, but the metrics did show that we were pretty close to them in a lot of situations. And the major thing was for us not taking our chances. And it's going to be another factor in this game is us taking our chances, especially in that first 60 to 70 minutes where Wissa and Gordon, where I think they'll be playing. I do think they'll start before they're rotated. Barnes might stay on for a little bit longer. I think that's going to be really, really key for us. If what I've been told is Larson is not in good form, then I hope that continues. But they've got dangerous players like Mane. I'll count Larson in there. Juan Chan loves a goal against us. If Mosquera plays it instead of Doherty, that's going to be a challenge for Gordon. But I think Hall and Miley is going to be really important about how they help us to create against Wolves. It's going to be a tight game, guys. It's going to be a super, super tight game. I'm going to go for a... I wonder if maybe Walter would be good in this game. I don't know if Ryan is still here. I'd be keen to get his views on Mosquera and on Bueno on his back line, what his thoughts are on it. I'm going to go for a 2-1 to Newcastle. I'm going to back Wissa and maybe Voltamada off the bench. Wissa and Voltamada to score. I'm going to go for that. So that's a 2-1 for me. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are. Send in your predictions. Ryan says, yeah, we've looked a lot better since Rui Silva, who is Nuno's old assistant. We have looked a lot better. Good. It's all good, Ryan. It's okay. Ryan said, I've got a little bit of hope in this game due to recent performances. Yeah, and Newcastle away form, but you'll probably edge the game. Okay, wow, you backcasted it 2-1 as well. Okay, wow. Fair play to you, Ryan. Fair play to you. And I really appreciate you adding that context and substance to the game as well. But yeah, man, you guys have really improved. You gave tight games to Arsenal, Liverpool, and all those guys. So I think it's going to be a tight game. War Captain Bruno, big up yourself and God bless you. Says, would love to see Voltamada and Wissa score for us. Agree, it's not going to be easy. Wolves are biting back for sure, and we all know we know more than anybody about fighting relegation. So we have to be on it. Aaron says fixtures between Wolves and Newcastle always end in a draw, but we'll have something to prove after the City loss. Yes, and that's what I hope we come in with that mindset. To be honest, that's exactly the right mindset to come into this game. Okay, so. Scouting profile. Now, there's been a lot of people that come up. We had the Lecce defender that Aaron has mentioned. We saw Tarek Mohalovic, who we spoke about before, has come on recently as well. So a few players been linked. I was going to say lots of players. It hasn't been lots of players. It's been quite quiet. It's even on the rumor mill. Really, it's been quite quiet for Newcastle. Relatively quiet anyway. So I was going to say lots of players, but it hasn't been lots of players. But one player that has come up that I thought was interesting, and I wanted to discuss with you guys and see your thoughts on him. Let me take this off first. No, I want to keep that actually. I'm going to take off. I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to stop screen here. I'm going to talk about is and he was linked to us previously. Is it this one? No, it's here somewhere. Here we go. And this is Christian Kofane or Kofane from Bayern Leverkusen, 19-year-old, the Cameroonian prodigy who's attracting European agents after the 2025. This originally came from Africa Foot. Now I don't know. It looks like they. I don't know too much about the media outlet. I know it's massive, but I don't know if they're for one particular country in Africa or like I think they cover the entire African continent. With it's a Cameroonian player who's current. I don't know if he's still at AFCON, but he did go to the AFCON. He was linked to us previously in May, and he's 19 years old. And obviously, we've got the news about Osula possibly leaving to Frankfurt. And I think if Osula leaves, we're going to be looking at someone of the likes of Christian Kofane, I think, to come in. So that's why I wanted to talk about him with you guys today. So this is from Africa Foot. According to exclusive information, this is from Africa Foot. According to exclusive information by Africa Foot, after his brilliant performance at the 2025 Africa or Cup of Nations in Morocco, several top European clubs, including Real Madrid, Manchester United, and Newcastle, look at that, we're a top European club now, have expressed keen interest in securing the services of the young Cameroonian. So a lot of players linked. I do think that this exclusive information is probably from his agent. So he's been ranked in one of the top 10 most valuable players under 20s in the AFCON. At 19 years old, born in Douala, Kofane was quickly established himself as one of the most promising talents in African and European football, thanks to his exceptional technical and physical qualities. Versatile as a centre forward who is distinguished by his speed, power, and ability to finish effectively from various positions. I think he played against us as well for Leverkusen as well. His career path, he began his training at AS Nilon Academy before moving to Spain, then joining Albacete, where he quickly made a name of himself on his official. So he's been playing with even though he's young, he's been playing with big men for a while. In his official debut, he scored the fastest goal in the club's history, confirming his potential and ability to make a difference. And during his first season with the first team, he played 20 matches and scored 8 goals. That's impressive. Becoming one of the most promising young players in the Spanish league. So that Spanish second division, he's been playing with big men for a while. In the summer of 2025, Kofane officially transferred to Leverkusen, so a year ago in Germany, signing a contract running until 2029. Okay, so they've got a little bit of bargaining power, Leverkusen. Until the end of 2025, he played 14 Bundesliga matches, scoring 3 goals, as well as 6 Champions League matches. So he's already got European experiences. A competition which he found the back of the net, confirming his status as a young European talent to work closely. He's representing Cameroon at youth level before making his debut for the senior team in 2025, where he scored 2 decisive goals, including one for the against South Africa, and strengthening his reputation. So his renowned for his ability to run through space, his effectiveness aerial duels, and his constant threat in the counter-attack. They say that his trajectory perfect. Wow, that's a big word. Christian Kofane's trajectory perfectly illustrates the profile of a young, ambitious striker, combining natural talent and tactical discipline, and promises to become one of the pillars of Cameroonian and European football in years to come. So they're really talking him up here. That's why I think it's a bit agent-driven, to be honest. But I wanted to match him. I wanted to discuss him a little bit more. And I used a little bit of FBref to talk about him and to compare him compare him first in terms of where he is in Leverkusen, in terms of how he ranks in amongst Leverkusen players, especially the forwards, and how this compares to Osula. So would he be an upgrade on Osula himself? And I want to get you guys' thoughts. Let me know if you've heard of him. I'll be really, really, really keen to hear you guys' thoughts. Ryan says Newcastle are in for Ordonis from Club Brugge. Good signing that would be. I think Liverpool are looking to tie him up. Unless there's something coming out today, Ryan, let me know. But I think Liverpool are interested in him also. Yeah, I think they're looking to tie him up. So let me bring up Mr. Kofane. Is it this one? That's a bit of Wolves here. Right. So Christian. So let me go up, Mr. Christian. So as mentioned, this is a bit of an update. I used FB rep, so this is now from his appearance have gone up a little bit. So Kofane has established himself as a regular rotation player. So he's played 14 matches in the Bundesliga this season with 5 starts. So he's already got more starts than Osula and played 548 minutes. Obviously, Osula's been injured as well. So he's played 14 matches, 5 starts, 548 minutes, approximately 39.81 minutes per appearance. So like pretty much as a sub most of the time, but 5 starts obviously. He primarily plays as a forward, and I've compared him and compared his stats to other Leverkusen players. So he ranks first for shots taken, 3.8 per game, which is a lot. First for pass accuracy, 88.1%. So that's showing good technical ability, really. And third for expected goals, so 0.49, so about a 50% chance with a higher volume. So I wonder if there's a bit of a shot quality thing that he can improve a little bit on. But he's currently third for that. He scored 3 goals, so he's fourth for that. And goals and assists, again, 3, so sixth for that. So shots taken and pass accuracy first, expected goals third, goals scored fourth, and goals and assists sixth. And you can see that in terms of spread across the league, in terms of, they've got Patrick Schick on 6 goals, and Alex Grimaldo, who we know about, scored 5 goals. Shooting volume, he's pretty much a lot. I know he's played obviously less minutes, but he's really head and shoulders above the next person, which is Martin Terrier, for instance. Expected goals, he's third, and you've got the likes of Patrick Schick and Terrier again, who are on 0.7, 0.63. So, I think he does need to improve his shot quality from at least this season anyway, to Kofane. But his pass completion, he's first for it. He's pretty good at it, 88.1%. That's good for a forward as well. So it's signs that he can link up play, which is really, really good. So he's got some impressive stats here in terms of him. If we do the same thing for Osula, you got him here and kind of match him up to Osula, how Osula is. So what I did here is I matched Christian Kofane's significance for Leverkusen to Osula's significance for Newcastle. Now, Osula is obviously 22, 23 years old now, 22, I think, whereas Kofane is 19. And so you can almost feel like for me, it almost feels like with Osula, selling him, making a profit, you're kind of starting again with Christian Kofane, but probably at a slightly higher ceiling or floor compared to Osula. So if you look at it this way, Christian Kofane is currently a regular rotation player, which I think Osula would have been, but he's been more of an impact sub. Following his transfer at Albuquerque, he's played 23 matches, whereas Osula has made 14 appearances, and his role has been restricted because of injuries. They've both scored 3 goals, though Kofane's got 1 assist. Kofane ranks 4th top for Leverkusen. He's the team's leader in shot volume. Osula, though, ranks 4th or 5th in the squad, and most of his goals came in cup competitions. So Osula's not really been playing in the Premier League, whereas Kofane has been playing in the Bundesliga, but also in the AFCON himself. So so he's got a little bit more experience, even though Osula's played Champions League as well. Statistical role. So Kofane he's the trigger man for Leverkusen when on the pitch, leading the team in shots and penalty area touches. So he's pretty much a box striker. Osula, though, is more tactically closer efficiency. So he boasts a team high of 90.2 completion. So he's got even a higher completion rate than Kofane, and he's used to stabilize and play late in games and lead the line for domestic cup. So it's a little bit unfair to Osula because of his injury. And like I said, I think he's fine, or he's getting better. I think he's ready to go, to be honest. Then I asked an AI and put it with FB Ref, who has the higher ceiling? And data suggests that Christian Kofane currently projects a slightly higher ceiling for the following reasons. So he's got the shot creation and gravity. So Kofane's ability to generate 3.8 shots per 90 is elite, ranking him in the 30s, in the 76th percentile of all Big Five league attackers. I don't know if that's elite, but it's good. But it's good or very good. This is a higher volume profile. Is often the precursor to becoming. Oh, okay. So having a higher volume profile of shot profile is probably a precursor to becoming an elite goal scorer if efficiency improves, which it needs to improve for him. He's got the physicality and technical balance. So Kofane uniquely combines his large frame, it's pretty big, 1.89 centimeters, with 88.1% completion rate. It is rare for a volume shooter to also be one of the most reliable passers in the team, suggesting a very high technical floor. So that's good for him. FBref similarity algorithms currently link Kofane's statistical profile to high-end strikers like Santiago Jimenez for Milan and Erling Haaland for Manchester City. That's interesting, due to his shot volume and touches in the box. Whereas Osula's path, Osula is an excellent link-up striker with great physicality, but his lower XG per 90 versus Kofane's here, and lower shot volume suggests he's currently more of a system player than a game breaker. So there's so you can see why, if Newcastle were interested, they might see Kofane as he probably has a higher ceiling and it's worth taking the risk on. So in terms of a physical profile between the both players, when we're talking about ceiling, there's a tie. They're both pretty much the same, mobile and right-footed. Technical floor, Osula is slightly higher, 90% accuracy in the Premier League is elite for his age, though he is 22 years old. Attacking peak, Kofane, so the sheer volume of his shots and XG generates is higher than Osula's, and the current trajectory, Kofane's playing regularly in the Champions League for a top Bundesliga side. So his trajectory is slightly higher than Osula's. So you can see why Newcastle, of course, are very much looking at him. So before we kind of make our decisions on him, let's have a look at Mr. Kofane on the old highlights. Let me get it on and see how he does and see what kind of player he is. But let me know, guys, if anybody's seeing him play. I'm going to go to the chats in a moment. Let me go to the chats now quickly to see if there's anything. If you guys have seen him play, I'll be really, really keen to get you guys' view on him. Do you rate the player? Which one should I go to? Okay, let me try this one. Volume off. Let me see. He made a debut for Leverkusen. Let's look at his debut for not too many highlights of him here. All right, let me see his debut for Leverkusen. I think that's the best we're gonna get. Let me just see quickly if you get. Let me take this down, and then let's see what you guys think of him. Where is he? Here we go. Okay, so can you guys see that? Yes, you can. Let me see if there's anything you guys. Has anyone else seen him play? Okay, so Ryan says, I think Kofane was linked to Real Madrid as well. He was, and to Man United. Whenever I look at players, Real Madrid's name is never too far away, which makes me think of, which leads me to believe about agent-driven kind of profile players. But look, this is 27th of July, 2025. This is Christian Kofane's first game for Leverkusen. So let's get a little bit of highlights on him and see what he does. Let me make sure you can see that. And let's get you guys' thoughts. If you guys have seen him play live, do let me know. I'll be keen to get your views. Oh, I went onto the wrong to this. I went to the wrong. Here we go. All right. So that's him picking up the ball. All right. So making runs in behind is a thing for him there. Decent movement. So he's trying to start something there. There you go. Dropping a bit deeper. before picking up the ball linking up play, continuing the run into the space there. They've gone long for it. They can't look like they use him as a target, man. You know what's interesting about this? Because with highlights, you always get the best. And when you're highlighting one game, you're getting a mixture of good, bad, or indifferent. So I think that kind of gives even a better perspective, isn't it? Rather than all the flicks and tricks, you're kind of getting a better feel for the player as well. So you can see the runs that he's always making. He's always trying to get in behind. So that's him linking up the play there, holding it up a little bit there, getting into tussles. He's used to playing with big guys, big players. Good control there, picking up the ball, holding it off, showing some pace, carrying it, progressing it. Bit of a loose touch there. Again, on the final man there, running in behind, getting caught out there. I like these highlights. Oh, again on the. Oh, I had to be held back there. So you can see what his movements are like. He wants to run in behind. That's his main thing. I think maybe that's why Eddie Howe really likes that. He wants to have players that want to run in behind. He forced the centre back into that decision there as well. Move this team up the pitch. So that was good. Again, trying to run in behind there, collecting the ball, run into the space as well. That centre back is on him. Goalkeeper again goes a bit short there, picks it up, or I can't hold it off there, gets injured, gets hurt again. They've really gone for him. They know he's young, they know he's 19, and they're really trying to go at him here. So he'll be used to this, though. He'll be used to this. I really like this highlight because, like I said, there's no hiding, isn't it, here? Good, picked up really well, turns around, passes it, shows his quality there. Again, trying to run in behind there, manages to hold it off, is aware of the player on the rings, collects it. Again, collects it a little bit there in the centre. Managed to get it off, wants to run into the space as well, doesn't hang about much. Once he gets the ball, good strength there, collects it. He got a foul for that. That's crazy. That is crazy. That's so, like I said, it's super good to watch it like this, not a full game, highlights from a game of one player, because you get to see everything, good, bad, and ugly as well. He looks smaller than Osula to me, but they've said they're about the same size. So let me know what you guys think. Again, 3-minute video isn't the best, but it's super interesting. What's this? What am I playing here? So that's Kofane. I didn't see what price has been off Leverkusen. I'm looking at him. Let me see. Let me go on transfermarket.com. Let me see if I can get him on transfermarket.com. I think 25 million, something like that, has been floated about. Let me see if I can transfermarket.com, and then we'll wrap it up. But let me know if you guys know him. Let me know if you think it's worth selling Osula and bringing in Kofane. I'll be keen to get you guys' views on that. Yeah, you guys can. That's transfer feed. Let me see, transfer market. Here we go. Let's see, how much is Kofane? How much is Kofane? Did I spell his name right? Yes, I did. So on there is listed as 22 million euros, which is about 15 million pounds. But I always think they're quite reserved by about 10 million typically. So I think you'll cost anywhere between 20 to 30 million. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the player. I think if Larson, I'm not just saying that because we've got a Wolves fan and playing Wolves, but I think if Larson is available and wants to come to Newcastle for 40 million, I think that'll be the better deal. But if he's not, and Kofane is available, and Osula wants to go, then you go for a Kofane type of profile. But if Larson is rumored at 40 million, I think we should go for him. All right, good to see you, Richie from Red RD United TV. Good to see you. God bless you, sir. Evening, mate. Hope you're good. Sign anyone in January? That's a great question. That's a great question, Richie. Big question mark. Big question mark at this moment in time. Big question mark on that. Aaron says, I think he's better technically than Osula and looks a lot more natural on the ball. Yeah, I agree with that. But Osula definitely the faster, more physical of the two. Yeah. Osula would love the Bundesliga. And to be fair, he's 22 years old. So, Kofane still has a little bit more time to develop. War Captain Bruno says he looks really decent, but not sure if any better than Osula, who I really rate. It's just not working out for him. It's not, is it? It's not, and it's difficult for him to come in. I would have loved to have Osula actually play against Man City or be able to come on and stretch their defense, but he's not been playing for whatever reason. All right, folks. So, coming to the conclusion of the show, we've done a match reaction to the Man City game, broke down the overall team performance, individual performances. Like I said, in terms of going forward into that second leg, I understand folks saying be realistic, rotate, give it up. We're not going to win. I think I don't think just because someone's realistic, they're not necessarily negative, and I don't think just because someone believes in the winning mentality, as I do, is a dreamer. I think you can have both of those things, and I think Newcastle should, and I'm sure Eddie Howe will take both, which is a realism, and that'll be his roadmap in terms of going forward. But he'll also have a winning mentality, which is to behave and act like a team and play like a team who believe they can turn it around. I think that's going to be important. I want to see that from our team because you never know, because we could turn it around. And then obviously we did a match preview for the Wolves game. And so Wolves have had an upturn in form, playing really well under Rob Edwards as well. And they're 4 games unbeaten at the moment. Some good tactical tweaks that they've made. A lot of challenges for Newcastle to do, especially from playing away from home. You guys have been amazing sending in your predictions, sending in your lineups. I've gone for a 2-1 win. So I'm really, really hoping that that's what we get, because we need to stay in the run. And we finished up with a scouting report of young Christian Kofane, and interesting player. Interesting to see if Newcastle do go for him. He seems to be on a slightly higher trajectory than Osula at the moment, playing Champions League regularly, playing Bundesliga fairly regularly at his age, and is currently in AFCON. Would Newcastle go for him in January? That's an open question. I think if Newcastle have a chance to sign the likes of Larson for 40 million, they're more likely to go for that. But you guys have been absolutely amazing as well. Thank you, Captain Bruno. Well said. Aaron says, great analysis as always, Philip. Thank you for that, sir. God bless you. Jake Ryan, good to see you. God bless you. Newcastle have more chance of signing Mascara over Larson. Probably. Captain Bruno says, sum up, want us to win, but want Wolves to stay up come end of season. Yeah, that's exactly it. But guys, you've been amazing, as you always have been. Always a blessing to be on the show with you guys. Looking forward to that Wolves game. As always, folks, take care of yourself, and God bless you all. Take care.
Oh, brilliant from Shea. And now Murphy can take on the shot.